Hello, this is Xbox Ahoy, and this is the bonus footage from my time with the Crossbow. A relatively fun, if somewhat ineffective weapon. I mean, it's alright, but it's a frustrating weapon to use at times. Nevertheless, I'm done with it, I've got it gold, never have to use it again, so I'm okay with that. And I suppose I'm now halfway to my Diamond Specials, which is, well, moderately exciting, I suppose. Anyway, the emblem this week was the Combine symbol from Half-Life 2. I thought, you know, Crossbow, it's kind of a prominent weapon in the Half-Life series, so I thought I'd pay homage. And so, anyway, on with the questions. Ed Smash says, do you watch AMC's Walking Dead? If so, do you know about Daryl and his crossbow? Who's your favourite character? I don't actually watch The Walking Dead. In fact, I don't watch much television at all, really. Having said that, I do kind of pick up some second-hand cultural references to stuff like The Walking Dead. It crops up on Reddit every now and again. So I have a vague awareness of Daryl and his crossbow. And I get the impression nobody likes Laurie. Is it Laurie? I've only ever seen the name written. L-O-R-I. I'm guessing Laurie. I don't know. But I get the impression nobody likes her. Even though I don't know what she looks like or what she's done. This is, you know, kind of the level of my understanding of The Walking Dead. Sexy118118 Iffy says, did you or have watched the Grand National this year? Not really a huge fan of horse racing, and I understand the Grand National is kind of the grandest of the horse races, but no, I didn't have a flutter, I didn't watch it or anything like that. Not really too interested in that sort of thing. It's Murky Boy says, hey Stu, how are you going to get the Executioner headshots? Well, call me crazy, but I might just go about shooting people in the head with the Executioner. That's how I'll do it. In all seriousness, though, the Executioner isn't that bad of a weapon. I think it's a lot better than people realise it is. I've been using it a little bit because it has been my go-to secondary because it is the next one along. And I've got to say, it's not too bad. It actually does all right. I mean, obviously you can't hit anything at a distance, but up close, it's pretty powerful. I mean, the fact that it can kill in one shot makes it, particularly potent. I was recording some gameplay for the long barrel attachment guide, and I was using the Executioner for that. And I was playing free-for-all with the Executioner, and it was doing the business. I've got to say, it was doing pretty well. So what I'll probably do when it comes to next week, probably on Friday, Saturday, I'll just hop onto free-for-all, and I'll play that for 4 or 5 hours and get all the headshots I need there. I don't think gilding it should be that much of an issue. Maybe the hardest thing will be the kills without perks, without attachments, because there's 150 with the handguns. But no, I think I played 2 free-for-all matches with it, and I actually won both. And I'm pretty sure there was someone on the Optic roster in one of my games, so there you go. Guitar Kid 177 says, what do you think of the next Xbox rumoured to be always online? Now, this has been a thorny issue this week, and topic of much debate, and some people have already sort of basically written off the next Xbox. Just working off hearsay and rumour. Nothing's been announced yet. It's odd. I mean, I don't understand precisely why there's this huge backlash against always online. I can understand why there's a bit of a backlash, because obviously not everybody has a reliable internet connection, but the scale of the indignation seems to outweigh the number of people that it would affect. Because most people these days have an internet connection. I mean, my Xbox is basically always online anyway, at the moment. I can understand there being protests from people who are in the military, or people who work like on oil rigs, and maybe some people who, are in truly remote locations, but even in the more rural areas, you can always have a connection. It might not be the fastest connection, but it's not like you need to stream. I think always online, it's not really going to be too taxing on bandwidth. So the scale of the protests against always online is, well, it's surprising, to say the least. You wouldn't think there'd be that much in the way of protest. Now, personally speaking, while I do think it would be a bit of a shame if I couldn't play a game off a disc offline, the concept of always online doesn't necessarily completely repulse me because, well, I am pretty much always online, so it's not really a deal breaker for me. Anyway, there's not really that much to comment on until we get an official announcement. I've heard rumours of there being a 2-tier system, like a subscription, cheaper Xbox, which does require always online, and a more expensive model that doesn't. And I think maybe a 2-tier model like that could work, but until we get an official reveal, it's almost pointless debating the issue, because we don't know Microsoft's plans, we don't know what the products on offer are going to be, so I guess, you know, we've got to wait until May to find out. And the good news is you don't have to make any purchasing decisions until later this year, so there you go. Lego Fan 56 says, well, Stu, looks like you'll be getting your Firing Range remake after all. Excited? Excited probably isn't the right word. I'm mildly pleased. I mean, I've already played Firing Range. I know what it's like. It's a familiar place, isn't it? And I suppose, you know, the studio setting looks like a visual change of pace. So, yeah, it'll be nice. It'll be a nice return to a favourite map. Otherwise, it's business as usual. But it will make a nice change from playing Hijacked all the time. Banana and Jaeger says, hey Mr. Xbox Ahoy, what do you think about persistent shooters, PlanetSide 2, or the integration of shooters into persistent world, Eve plus Dust 514? Do you think this will be the future of the genre, or is it just a small niche? Well, it's a relatively niche genre for now, isn't it? None of those games are huge sellers, really, at the minute. But you never know, and all it really takes is, you know, one game to make it big, and, well, it rather seems like Bungie's Destiny fits the mould of a persistent shooter, or at least looks like they're going to take elements from those sort of games. I suppose Dust 514, that's still on the horizon, isn't it? I have my doubts as to whether it'll make a huge impact, but you never know, it might very well find a fanbase. But Destiny, I would put money on Destiny being at least moderately popular, because, well, you know, it's Bungie. And other than that, who knows? Who knows what the next generation will bring? Kaiser Sojak 2008 says, what do you think about LucasArts shutting down? Well, it's never nice to see a studio go under, especially not one that's produced a lot of games that have featured rather prominently in your childhood. And I'm a big fan of many, many LucasArts games. I mean, I love the Secret of Monkey Island series, the Indiana Jones adventure games, you've got Loom, you've got Maniac Mansion, you've got stuff like Full Throttle, The Dig, Grim Fandango, fantastic games, and they're responsible for a significant part of my childhood and my adolescence as far as gaming's concerned. So I feel as though I owe them a debt, and to see them disappear, it's sad. It is sad, but then the more rational part of me thinks, well, they haven't really done much in recent years, and you can't always cling to former glories because the nature of the business has changed, and graphical adventures, they're not really commercially viable anymore. The whole industry's changed. So I guess, really, you know, the end of an era, it's inevitable, really. And it is sad. But it's just the nature of things. Studios come, studios go. You've just got to hope that at some point a new studio will come along and provide you a similar degree of enjoyment and pleasure that LucasArts once did. And you've got to take solace in the fact that whilst the studio might be defunct, the people that made these games, the talent, they're still out there for the most part. They're still making games. And, you know, there's definitely potential there in the future for them to once again wow the spirit and entertain the soul. Ex-Sober Gaming says, seriously, no arrow to the knee joke? Really? Nope, I have more respect for you as an audience than that. I mean, my puns might be pretty lame and only mildly amusing, but at least they're not as unfunny as an arrow to the knee joke. Anton D asks, do you think that the M1216 needs a buff? Actually, no. I think it's actually a reasonably balanced weapon. It lacks the raw power of the KSG or the Remington 870, but what it lacks in power, it makes up for in consistency. The fact that it basically fires 4 shots automatically means you get 4 shots to kill in close quarters, which means it is a reliable weapon. It's a very consistent handling and performing weapon, which I really like. Once you sort of overcome the ranged shortcoming, it's not half bad. I'll give it that much. Now, the Sega 12, I think that maybe that does need a bit of a buff. I think that's the weakest shotgun. The M1216, well, it's had a couple of buffs. The mid-range damage has been increased. And I've got to say, I think it's alright. Heart of 72B says, do you ever regret focusing your channel on weapon guides? While it's obviously worked out well for all involved, are there ever times you wish you could just post gameplays or troll/funny videos instead? Well, I mean, let's be honest here, the weapon guides have been pretty good to me. I mean, they get healthy views and, well, I scored a pretty neat job with Activision as a result. So, they've worked out okay for me. As far as the freedom to post other stuff, well, that's the thing about my channel. It's my channel. I do have the freedom to post these things. Now, please, if you ever catch me doing a troll video, please just put me out to pasture. Because that's the last thing I want to do. But there's nothing to stop me from posting pretty much whatever I like on my own channel. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that most people are subscribed to me for Call of Duty. And that's fine. If you build up an audience in one arena and then you start to post other stuff, then, well, you're going to lose some subscribers. It's a fact of the matter. So yeah, I guess there is kind of a compulsion to stick to at least first-person shooters for the sake of my core audience. But ultimately, you know, what I post on my channel is my own choice, it's my own volition. And if I decide to sort of give up first-person shooters altogether and instead focus on, I don't know, truck simulators, it's something I could do. And I think you're always going to lose subscribers at every single turn. Even with the new Call of Duty game, some people won't graduate from one to the other. Like, I probably lost subscribers at the transition from Modern Warfare 2 to Black Ops. And then every year after that. Just, you're going to get people who sort of get bored of the franchise or just don't pick up the next title. And that's fine. That's fine. An audience changes, it evolves, it moves on. And somebody who subscribes in 2013 might not be subscribed in 2015, you know? No matter what you do, even if you keep on the same even keel that you've always kept on, you're going to lose subscribers. That's just how it works. I guess it's a little bit like being a captain of a ship. And you've got to steer gently. If you make too sharp a turn, you're going to lose some cargo overboard. But if you keep things on an even keel, keep it nice and steady, and, you know, don't make any unexpected moves, then you should be alright. And my mind has been cast to a graduation away from Call of Duty over the next year or so. Because, you know, the franchise, it gets more and more threadbare after every year. And with the transition to the new generation, it's unlikely that Call of Duty will be able to maintain its hegemony. I mean, maybe it will. It is impossible to say. And Call of Duty as a brand does have a lot of pulling power when it comes to games. But it's becoming increasingly apparent to me that I'd quite like to do shorter series. I'd quite like to be more nimble when it comes to covering other games, and committing to 40 episodes on a single game. It's too much. So it is likely that Black Ops 2 is going to be my last full year-long series for a game. I mean, I'm probably still going to cover the next Call of Duty game, but I'll probably do, I don't know, I want to do a shorter series. Precisely how short it'll be depends on how excited I am for the game and how good the game actually turns out to be post-launch. But to be honest, I think I'd like to be done with the game within a couple of months. But time will tell, time will tell. I am probably going to slip in the occasional non-Call of Duty video. I am a man of many ideas and of little means to do them all, but I'd like to sort of maybe put some excess time towards doing some more exciting projects, some fresher stuff. One thing I would like to do is break out of the shell of doing Call of Duty and maybe try and tackle a broader audience. Instead of people who are into COD, maybe try and tackle a general gaming topic. I figure the broader the topic, the broader the appeal of the topic that you cover, the higher the potential audience. And so by doing Black Ops 2 content, there's kind of a ceiling to the amount of attention that you'll get. So I'm hoping to break through that ceiling and find a more general audience. And hopefully that will allow me to cover a greater variety of games and spend less time playing a single game, because I think that would make me happier. But anyway, for now, I've got 17 episodes left. After that, it's all up in the air. FinVpo137 says, do you prefer single-player games or multiplayer games? Now, obviously I like both. But, I don't know, given the choice, I think I'm more of a single-player sort of guy. I find I can never justify the time to get into a multiplayer game. Call of Duty really is the exception, not the rule. And well, the fact that it's the same game every year also helps. But a single-player experience, you know, it's tunable, it's moddable, you can cheat if you like. You can adjust and modify the experience to your exact liking. You can play it at exactly your own pace. And I like that. That's what gaming should be, really. It is nice sometimes to take a break from, you know, sort of hyper-competitive games and go along with, you know, the single-player experience. Co-op as well. Co-op is really good. I do like a nice co-op game. Although even then, I'm not a huge fan of co-op with strangers. I mean, it has to be something you do with friends, just to sort of relax, chill out, have a bit of a chat, and enjoy some non-competitive, relaxing, good old gameplay. STGX Banana says, "Hey Stu, what do you think about North Korea threatening South Korea and the United States?" It's oddly enthralling. It's almost like a reality show, except it's not a reality show, it's reality, and there are nuclear missiles at stake. I suppose that makes it more exciting. Now, as I understand it, North Korea are just posturing. In fact, I think most of their threats are really for the benefit of their own people. It's their propaganda machine sort of on the rumble, trying to manufacture an enemy to rally against. I don't know what they're doing, it's weird. In fact, I can't claim to understand the North Korea situation, but naturally, I do hope it comes to pass without any actual war, but at the same time, I do find it oddly fascinating. The Canadian Mega Oboe. It's not BC, it's BCE. I'm aware of the distinction, and I probably should use BCE/CE, but I think anybody who's offended by the alternate usage maybe is a little bit too sensitive over the issue. I was brought up with BC and AD, so it's kind of what I'm most familiar with. And it's only really in sort of very recent years that there's been a push to sort of shift over to BCE and CE. But the thing is, no matter which way you slice it, no matter what you call the era designations, you're still basing it round the supposed birth of Jesus Christ. So I don't know. It doesn't really matter because I offend someone no matter what variant I use. Conor McC 1997 says, "Stu, are you disappointed that there is no new DLC weapon in the Uprising map pack?" Why, no, I'm not. On the contrary, in fact, I'm actually quite pleased. Why? Because I get to finish my series a week early, yeah! Sycorax asks, "Are you planning to do anything for 300k subscribers, Stu?" Other than my regularly scheduled content, nothing. J Carver SOS 0113 says, "Hola, Senor Brown. Would you vote for Jeremy Clarkson for Prime Minister?" Heavens above, no, I would not. I mean, I like Jeremy Clarkson, but I only like him as a comedy character, as like a jingoistic caricature. I do hope he puts it on for the television and he's not like that in real life, but I'm not so sure. Juro1001 says, "Have you ever thought about having a PO box so fans can send you swag and mail?" I've considered a PO box, but I don't really have a good reason for doing it. It's something I might do in the future, although it does cost a relatively large amount. I think it's about, what is it, like 150, 160 pounds a year or something like that? A figure that I'm not entirely sure is worthwhile for the benefit of receiving post from my subscribers. Although the idea of people writing in bonus questions on like actual postcard and stuff, that is quite appealing. So I don't know, I may do it at some point. I will keep you posted if I ever get a PO box. But at the moment I don't really have a major need for one, and I'm not really in a huge hurry to spend the money on it, so we'll see. B Itchy Benevolence says, "Hey Stu, what are your thoughts on Maggie Thatcher's death? Happy? Sad? Indifferent?" Indifferent is probably the word. Maybe a tinge of sadness. I mean, it's never pleasant to see somebody die. But, well, Thatcher is a dirty word to many people here in England. And especially to the other reaches of the United Kingdom as well. She was not very good at social appeasement, shall we say. The early 80s was a troubled time in the UK. We were in a deep recession, and we were mired in union strikes and all the rest of it. And Margaret Thatcher, she got us out of that hole, but she did so by piling up the corpses of British industry and the working class. To be perfectly honest, I don't think any politician could have come out of that period with shiny boots. But nevertheless, there is some very, very bad blood that runs in the left here in England, against Margaret Thatcher and Thatcherism and all the rest of it. So, I mean, despite the fact that she's been out of power now for, over 20 years, the news of her death has brought out some vitriol from some of her opponents. But I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I'm a hardcore centrist, so seeing people's lefty bias come out on Facebook, I'm thinking, come on, have some class. But there you go, she was a polarising politician, and I guess, some people aren't going to forget that in a hurry. Anyway, we are approaching the end of this bonus footage, and so I shall probably wrap up now. At the time of recording this, the tribal attachment guide is still yet to go out. I was actually a little bit ill last weekend. My voice was a bit throaty. I've had a bit of a cold again. So I made the decision to sort of postpone until my next voiceover record session, which should be Thursday, I think it will come out. But I have been trying to play catch up this week on my schedule, so we should have the MSMC guide on Friday as usual, and we should also have the long barrel on Sunday, unless something goes drastically wrong. And then after all of that, I should be fully caught up and then should be business as usual. I still have a couple of Ahoy Xbox videos in the pipeline. I want to do a post-mortem of the trucking video. I'll read some of the comments left on that and go over your reaction. And I'll see if I can't get you a full trucking gameplay. Oh yeah, cross-continental action. And in addition to that, I also have 3 hours of Bioshock Infinite footage to review and edit, and with a live commentary on that. And I'm really hoping at some point I'll get a chance to record Gears of War Judgment as well. But like I say, this week I've been playing catch up, and so catch up I shall. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you later this week. Until then, farewell.